again, like I always say, I can't speak for all women. For myself, personally, no. It's not the look alone. I won't lie and say looks don't ever play a part, because naturally when you don't know a person and you see a person, the first thing you look at is generally their face, and to see if you're even slightly interested. But on the flip side, there's also times where you could have known someone for time or met somebody, but you just weren't looking at them like that, and by the time you've ended up in conversation, something about them sparked an interest. It's a lot deeper than that for myself. It is the character, and it's not even just the character, it's kind of the aura that's given off, and if anything sparks a connection. So it could just be common interests, the way you communicate. Factors, if we're going to talk about aesthetics though, I'm not going to lie, I'm someone that's I don't know if I say judgmental, but I do watch attire and how a person carries themselves. Okay. So, but I wouldn't base it off like a one-time thing. So I could see you in something and think, what's he wearing? But everyone has them days, innit? If I see you another time, or I see you when you go out, if you're the type of person I feel like makes no effort and you look the same consistently like you're on road, that can put me off of a person.
What about idols? So if someone looks like an idol, like a lot of people have Trey Songz, Chris Brown.
Yeah, no, that don't do it for me.
Luther, what's his name?
I said Luther.
I was like, right, he's talking about the older ladies.
But
I get what you mean.
Like
you got the
my age that
Denzels,
love
Denzel
Idris.
Washington. Yeah, do you know what?
And it's like, but you've never met them or never had no.
And that's the
but
thing
you love
for me.
them.
Yeah, and it sounds like that level of like or love for that character will lead them into bed with them, like that.
But do you
if
know,
someone
even at
even
this point,
reminds you of them,
do
just by
you know what the problem is as well?
Yeah.
What a lot of women do, I'd say, is base it on a character as well. So you've got Idris the person, and then you've got Idris as an actor. Oh, yeah. So they might have watched a film or a certain number, and if a person tends to play, like for example, Will Smith. If someone likes Will Smith has been in a lot of films where he's played a very similar role. So now they stipulate or they relate to him as one of them. So it's like, oh yeah, or remember, or Morris Chestnut. That's another one that I know women go for. But he plays similar roles a lot of the time. So it's like, are you attracted to the person playing the characters? Are you attracted to the character of the film, or what? But then if you meet someone, you put all that weight of that person or character onto the person you've just met, because you expect them now to somewhat be like that person who you think is nice.
So really, it would be more based on the idea of the person.
Exactly.
Because obviously you can't get to know, or
you don't know the person.
Innit? So
me personally, that doesn't do it for me at all. Like I can't say that it's like I can look at people or celebrities and say, oh, I think they're good looking, but it's always in my head, I don't know them. Yeah. So how they look versus how their character is might be vastly different.
Because usually, how it turns out is a person can
be a piece of shit.
A person can be your personal preference, but then it's like a person is either one, hardly both. So it's a rare case where a person looks a certain type of way and their character's like amazing. It's usually one or the other. Yeah. Like the both is like a rarity.
And to be fair, for the experience that I've seen women go through, the better looking he is, the shittier his character is. I know it sounds
that's
like
usually how it is though.
It's just how the cookies crumbled for most people, isn't it? Right. It's like, oh, he's nice looking.
Is that
he
because?
Does this, and then
do you
it's
think
like,
that's because the person who is good looking has got used to a certain type of attention, so they become
100%. I think
it's
the women
nice
are part
to
to
be
blame.
complimented and feel like that, but they become like, oh, so I know I'm good. I don't have to put in that major depth work. Because I know 100%. I'm going to get, if I lose you, I can get you anyway. Yeah. But then obviously as they get older, when they start to lose their looks, it's like, oh shit.
100%.
Okay, I got to have personality now.
Without naming names, like I can think of a few people off the top of my head, and they were people that, you know, like girls around me liked, and I was like, nah, because I've spoken to that person before and I think he's a prick. They're like, no. And then I've even spoken to other people that hold them high. And I'm like, why do you hold them so high? Because their character's actually kind of shit. But the girl's like, yeah, but he's like, and then when I've gone out and I've seen the way that women are, I'm like, this is why he acts like shit. Because you sort of give him all that attention, and because he's not running out of it, and every time, even if he had a low moment, there's someone there to boost that ego right back up. So because of it, and you haven't got anyone that's putting him in check, he stays in that high ego bubble. Do you know what I mean? So until, as you said, you get older and your looks start fading, or people start seeing through it because they've grown and things start changing, they're always going to be there. So everyone's saying, oh, they're crap. It's not just that person. It's everyone else that's put into that character for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What about you guys?
What do you mean?
As in, like, what do you guys see? Because I know there's a lot of
layers,
stigmas with guys seeing girls.
Yeah, I think as I've got older, I've always had it, but as I've got older, it's become more vivid. Like, I don't give a shit how you look, because I know what that especially now when a lot of people are, you know, they're creating an image of themselves. That's an agent. They're creating an image of themselves and selling a false reality. So like a lot of people I know who, you know, create this kind of brand, and you're like, but that's not you. So more and more, like when I was younger, of course, I was like, I'd see looks and I'd be like, oh my God. But if I heard someone who was just like more masculine than me, kind of thing, yo, what one fam? That turned me off straight. But
as in a girl, yeah?
Yeah, like a girl would
yeah,
be
I'm not gonna lie, I was like, huh?
No,
and then
like,
I had to ring
I've
back.
had girls, yeah man, there's
really
girls in the party where you're like, you know, I call it like a young mentality. Their mentality is like young, and like my mind's always been ahead of my time. So when I meet someone at my age, I'm like, I don't know what, like, you're not. And I think for me personally, I think trauma's played a part in that. So my own trauma with my parents, and seeing how men treated my mum, and so then I understood at a more subconscious level that actually I can't do what I've seen growing up. Like I knew that. So I've become, but I got trapped into, there was a point where I got trapped into like seeing women as trophies kind of thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, oh, like let's go carnival, however many numbers we can get. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, using our characters. So
but were you looking at the women at that time?
No,
were you looking at women for their
I was
how
doing
they
it for
looked,
my own interest, just to fill my own ego. Like it would be like, right, how many numbers can I get?
So it didn't
And
matter.
I would get bet. Like I remember one year I got like 40 numbers. I was gassed, but I didn't call none of them. It was just to fill my own ego. Yeah, I did. And then after time, I started to clock like it's not about numbers; it's about quality of relationship and quality of interaction. So obviously, I've also got a lot of girl friends that we're generally friends, isn't it? So have people around. But what I've observed with the man them is they're in a, like we were saying it earlier, they're in a rush. Like it's like literally dogs on heat, because they have it's like they feel like by getting vagina,
they're possessed.
They're like, it so eloquently. Vagina.
Yeah, getting vagina for them is like the number one, and then as soon as it's like we lose value for you.
Yeah.
And that again for me is like quite dangerous, because of obviously now we understand this like how sacred sex is. So
now though, what would you say if, obviously I know not saying that you're Kim, but as a whole,
you know what
do you look at now?
Now I can appreciate beauty. I can appreciate someone who's good looking, someone's eyes, hair, but I don't care about it. Like I can appreciate it, like, yeah, she's pretty, yeah. But in terms of depth of character, that's one more. I'm because it's no point me looking at you that way, because if we're like, I'm not interested to grow with anyone right now. So, but if I want to, like for me, now I'm in the mindset of community. Like I want to know, are you for us, not me?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I want to know anyone that I'm interacting with now is like, they've generally got a we. So like their mindset is like, yo, I want to learn more. I want to teach kids this. I want to grow our own products. I want to Do you get what I'm saying? It's not just me in that. It's we. There's a growth. There's like, so I always want to hear like, I don't want to. You can show me wherever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But it's about your depth of character. So like, what's your growth plan?
It's like you want to hear like, I want to deactivate my self-destruct button. A lot of people don't realize that they are on self-destruct, and especially with like the times that we're in now, that's evident. Like you got nowhere to run. You can't go outside.
Yeah. You
can't just go and link this, that, and the third. No, it's either you deactivate the self-destruct button or you self-destruct. I do think that manually or like just people are just on that. So that's important. Like, are you willing to do that work? Because I feel like once you do that work, the we comes into play.
Yeah. You're right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and it's about us as men being able to develop the skill of observing how we feel about women. So like, you can see a woman and feel like she's good, like, but can you not act on what you think? And like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, can you be able to observe that feeling and be like, okay, I recognize it, but actually that's not useful because I've been programmed or whatever.
Do you think that if you're in a relationship, right, you should be able to appreciate somebody else's beauty without it meaning that you might want them?
Yeah, I mean, me and my girl do it all the time. She's like, oh, she's a stunner. Yeah, man, she's stunning.
And
because if you can't do that,
it's best that
then you're not going to do it. You're going to do it outside of them, and then it becomes something like, oh, I can't compliment someone. Come on, everyone window shops. Somebody's like, oh, this is nice, or might think about a situation. I like the way they do their thing, but no one ever fully knows that.
It's all a test of character.
Yeah, it is.
So even with that, it's like you have to kind of like plant them seeds to kind of like create that space for you and her. Because if you're not, as you said, like it's somewhat done in secrecy. And if you can't do it with her, who are you doing it with?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have other people.
To me, that's like, as a female, obviously, I've been one of females that I know that I've been in a relationship and like literally had my man like turning around doing the whole fun, and then his friends are like, you know, he's there, right? There's me too. I'm like, saw that, right? And people are like, did you see just? I'm like, well, I mean, if I looked, like, there's times where I've tapped him, like, did you see that girl? No, she was beautiful. And he's like, which one? And people are like, they thought it was mad.
I think personally, everything's a trap. I think everything is a trap. Anything that kind of like takes your attention and it's based on looks, I think it's all a trap. Because we know deep down that it's all about what's inside.
Substance, isn't it?
It's everything underneath rather than like what we can see. And we all know that our eyes, they lie. As you've got the whole microscope thing and you look at something
look at an onion.
Underneath it, even an
look
onion,
at an onion,
there's layers.
whether it be purple, whether it be brown,
there's layers.
The skin is brown. If we were to go by what it looked like on the outside, we're going to assume when we cut it, it's going to be brown, but it's white inside or it's purple. But do you understand? And then you've got your layers to it. When you get to the core, there's either something there or there's nothing there.
And most importantly,
sound like Shrek.
No, but that is real though, because when you really pre it for what it is, right? Everyone has been conditioned to think and feel a certain type of way. So they've got the pilgrim's narrative in their head, and that's what they operate on. Because I know that I can't necessarily like you because you're the enemy. You've been set on that, so it don't matter how you look. Like, what's within you is a program that's set on self-destruct. So for me, as I've said, I kind of have to take other things into account.